Scream Factory has blessed us with the collector's edition 4K Ultra HD plus Blu-ray of George A. Romero's Land of the Dead. This was Romero's return to zombie movies after Day of the Dead. It was like a very long gap, and then here it come, like in the midst of like Shaun of the Dead and 28 Days Later and all that stuff. Here come Land of the Dead, and at first, which my first copy of this, I had the DVD. I got it at Hastings back when it came out, and I think I was a little rough on it, but I think I grew to be more fond of it over the years. I think it's like you have all these expectations because it's Romero and it's zombies, and then, I was a lot younger then, so I was a little bit more, harder to please or a bit of a snob. But as I've got older, I've grown to appreciate this more. I think my biggest issue with this one, and it's still like my biggest issue with it, is the CGI, because you got all those cool Romero practical effects for like Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead, and then you get all this CGI stuff, and it kind of just, it just seems kind of cheap, especially for Romero, who definitely is not cheap. Um, Now I think Survival of the Dead's probably the only one that I really just don't like, but nonetheless, here this one is. It deals with greed, corporation. You've got like a place living with the dead stuff still going on all around them. The higher, richer people are kind of like in one area. The poor people are kind of somewhere else. You got the military units that are working against the zombies as always. And one guy kind of gets the idea that they're kind of going to buck the system. They're going to take Dead Reckoning and they're going to go somewhere with it, which is like this big vehicle. And they buck against the system there, which causes conflicts with the higher ups there and them, as well as the issue with the zombies, which the zombies are very sympathetic at times. This Big Daddy guy here, is that Bub in the background? That is like Bub in the background. Big Daddy here, he's kind of he's kind of a smarter zombie, I guess you could say. You kind of root for him, even if you don't always root for the dead people in this. But all in all, if you get past that, it's an exciting story. It's got a good cast. It's got what's his name? The main bad guy here. Well, Dennis Hopper is in it, but even though Dennis Hopper's like the man that runs the thing, like the main bad guy is John Leguizamo, if I can pronounce that right. He's like the guy that's doing all the rat work for Dennis Hopper, which Dennis Hopper is always going to eat up the scenery. It's got Dario Argento's daughter, Asia Argento, in it as well. So good cast, good movie. Give it a 3.5 out of 5. But you're probably not here for my opinion on the movie. You're probably here for my opinion on this release, which looks great, by the way. That's what it looks like when you get it out of the box. Open it up, and the discs are just flying everywhere. Thank you, Scream Factory. But there is the Land of the Dead 4K disc. Here now you have the Land of the Dead unrated version and Land of the Dead the Blu-ray version. I watched the 4K, and well, as you can see, it's kind of weird to get these back in here for some reason. It's just not snapping in. Good thing Blu-rays kind of have that stuff on them where they don't really scratch up like DVDs do, or we'd be in trouble. I'd be very, very upset about that. So, movie's great. Packaging, it could do better, but only the unrated version is here in 4K, by the way. No reverse cover, if you was wondering. 3 disc. You get the 4K disc, which is the unrated version. Then you get a Blu-ray disc for the unrated version, and a Blu-ray disc for the theatrical cut, which, as I always struggle to do this one-handed, I myself am under the belief of why bother with a theatrical cut. I didn't see it in theater. I seen it on DVD. I seen the unrated version, so kind of not really worth having as far as just that. Although it would be nice if they did 4Ks of both versions, but they don't never do that, so why would they start now? But one thing you'll notice, as we compare this to the previous Blu-ray release, Collector's Edition, which had a pretty cool cover. I like the alternate art, although with the 4Ks, I kind of like the original artwork. At the time when this came out, remember it had a 2K scan of the inner negative, is what it said. 2K scan for the theatrical cut, just said it had the unrated version. Now, you have a 4K restoration for the original camera negative for the unrated version, as well as a 4K scan for the other versions on Blu-ray and 4K. And that, as well as, well, I think if you look, you can pause if you want to, there's the old ones, which a lot of stuff was new when this came out. But then if you go back and you look at this, I think the only thing new is the transfers, pretty much. There's a side-by-side comparison. You can pause, zoom in, whatever you need to do. But pretty sure that the only new stuff you're going to find, which is loaded with extras, but the only new stuff you're going to find is the actual restoration of it. But hey, it's Land of the Dead. It's Scream Factory. It's better than you might remember. So pick it up now and give it a watch.